Hello, my name is Veronica and welcome into the Learning Lab. In this episode, I'd like to share with you a Christmas card that I made for a friend of mine who wanted some but wanted the focal point to be an angel. So without further delay, come on in and let's get started. We'll start with the card base and how I constructed this and put it together in order to put that focal point on top. My base started with this 110-pound cardstock from Michaels. It's the Recollections. I cut it to 10 by 7, and then I scored it in half at the 5-inch mark. And now to get the black background and the black one on top, I took some black Recollections paper, trimmed it down to size, cut out the center using that Spellbinder die, and then layered my black piece atop the white card using some ATG. The red piece is 65-pound red cardstock, again from Recollections. I took that, and initially when I started out, I cut it in half, and then I sprayed it using the Spray and Sparkle Silver from Crafter's Companion. But after that, I just started spraying the entire sheet and then trimmed it down to size. And you can see that nice sparkle result that I got. Then I took that piece and adhered it. I took that piece, put it through the Anna Griffin Cuttlebug folder, and I think that's the Rosebriar. And let me just tell you, this folder is luscious. Combined with that Spray and Sparkle, takes my breath away. So anyway, I took that and then layered that on top of the cutout black piece. At this point, everything is flat. Now on to the cutout eyelet piece that's behind the angel. For that, I used some Basil Basics paper, and I didn't care about the floral pattern on the front. I just thought it would add a little depth and dimension to the cutout piece behind the angel, and it did. So I cut that out, and it's up to you whether or not to emboss. I found it easier to put the angel on when I had that little embossed edge on there. And now for the focal point. For that, I used a stamp set from Stampendous. It was a Michaels exclusive last year, and it's the angel releasing the dove. I thought that very appropriate. I used my Spectrum Noir markers. For her dress, I use IB1, TB1, and IB3. Now, because this has such dark lines on it, I used that to help guide me in where I wanted to place my darkest color. Then I went in with my lightest color, and I forgot I used the chisel tip for that because I get much better coverage over a wider area. And I just started going back and forth between the darkest color and the lightest color, and then I went in with the medium tone to kind of blend everything out. Once I gave that a chance to settle down, I went back in again with my darkest color and just started going over those areas that I felt would look darker, whether they were under her arm or in the crease fold of the gown, and just continued on that way. And you'll see later, once I give those colors a chance to meld together, I go back in once more with my darkest color just to deepen up that gown a bit more. I don't know if it was because I was trying to watch the camera or keep an eye on what was going on, but I had quite a few little mess ups. So I took this Chromatics blender pen and I'm pushing the ink back in towards the dress just to clean up a little errors that I made. And once that dries, no one will be the wiser. Next, let's focus on her wings. And for that, I use IG1, IG2, IG4, and my glitter pen. I started out again with my darkest color, and then I went back in with my lightest color, and then back in with the medium tone color, just to blend everything together. Now, I really want the wings to pop, so I'm going back in with the medium color, the IG2, blending that out again with the lightest, and now I'm going back with the IG4 and making those wing tips even darker. Again, cleaning up some strays that I had. Now for the glitter pen. Since the gown is relatively dry, I can go in with my Sakura glitter pen and color in the ribbon around the border of her dress. And before I add glitter to the wings, I do want to give that ink a chance to absorb into the paper. So let's go to her hair. I admit I'm not an expert colorist, but I chose IG6, IG8, and IG10. And again, I am starting with my darkest color. Then I'm coming back in with my IG8, which is the medium color, and then I'll go over everything once I have it laid down with the lightest color, and that is the IG6. Once that ink has a chance to settle, I'll go back in again with the IG8 and the IG10 just to fill in some of the gray spots and give her hair just a little bit of highlight. It's hard to highlight black hair and make it look natural. Now I'm going back in with my darkest blue and using the TB1 and the IB3, giving her a little bow in her hair some color and definition. The wings have had an opportunity to dry, so I'm just going to go in with my Sakura pen and go along those black lines that the artist has so kindly provided. Now, if you don't want your lines that dark, you can always stamp with a grayer color or a second generation stamp of that same image, and then you won't have such deep dark lines. But personally, I like it, especially for this image. It's a little blurred, but you can see the sparkle on her wings. Now, if you have Wink of Stella, that would work too. For her skin, I use these colors, TN1, 64, and PP4. And the PP4 is a pink color. Now, if you look, you'll see where I came right into this. That's because I thought the camera was on and it wasn't. But I laid down the TN1 base over everything first. Then I scribbled out the 4 and the 6 onto my craft mat. And I used that to go back in and try to give a little more depth and dimension. And on her face, on the cheek area, is where I use the PP1. Now her eye stamps extremely dark, so I went in with my Sakura white gel pen and just to give her an eyeball. For the dove, I use TB2 with my blender pen, and the halo around her is GG1. And for the dove, I didn't try to do anything fancy. I just simply layered down color, and then I took that Chromatics blender pen from American Crafts and removed some of the color. Now I want to go around the entire thing and give her a little halo, and that's with the GG1. And if you're looking at this, you notice that her hands are much lighter than her face, and that's because I didn't go back and put another coat on there. And I will go back at some point and darken her hands just a bit more. Isn't she lovely? I think she's really cute. Now I'm going to cut her out using a classic circle die from Spellbinder, and I did that, and I started laying down ink using this 1-inch mop. But again, I must not have turned the camera on. I know, I've been away from filming for way too long. I did this initially because I liked the soft look that it gave to it, but it was a little too soft and it was giving me a pink look, and I definitely did not want pink on this red card. So I put it back into the die and used the fired brick or barn door, one of those, and I went back in with my semi-homemade ink applicator just to give it more of a definition around the border, and I think I like that much better. And also that was some great critiquing that I got from Bridget. Now for those, that greeting at the bottom with the little accent pieces, those are Dazzles, and some of them I got from Hot Off the Press, and some of them, the Merry Christmas is from Mark Richards, but they easily peel off. I had a silver set and I put that on, and each card is just a little different. Now I also did some angels with some reddish and brown hair, and this is just an example of one. And if you see her dress is a little lighter, I think I still want to go back in and darken up those folds just a little bit more. But thank you for joining me in the lab today. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. Until then.